The Valorian Empire had conquered 17 star systems in less than 100 cycles. Their fleet of 3,000 warships moved through the galaxy like a dark cloud of death. No species had ever survived their invasion. The Valorians believed themselves to be the ultimate predators of the cosmos. They had never lost a single battle. Admiral Crix stood on the command bridge of the flagship Eternal Dominion. His gray scales reflected the light from dozens of holographic displays. The screens showed a small blue planet spinning slowly in the darkness of space. Earth. The humans called it home. But humans were a young species. They had only achieved space travel 200 years ago. Their technology was primitive compared to the Valorian weapons. Their ships were small and weak. Intelligence reports said their entire military fleet numbered less than 500 vessels. It would be a quick conquest. Crix had received orders from the Emperor himself. Destroy the human resistance. Enslave the survivors. Strip the planet of resources. It was the same order he had followed 100 times before. The Valorian fleet entered the Sol system on a cold morning by Earth time. Sensors detected human ships gathering near the fourth planet, Mars. The humans were making their stand there. Crix almost laughed. The humans had positioned themselves in open space. No asteroid field for cover. No planetary defenses. Just 400 ships floating like sitting targets. Did they truly believe they could fight? The communication officer turned to Crix. A signal was coming from the human fleet. Someone wanted to talk. Crix allowed the transmission. A human face appeared on the main screen. The creature had dark skin and eyes that showed no fear. She wore a uniform covered in metals. Her name appeared on the display. Admiral Chen Wei of the United Earth Defense Force. Admiral Chen spoke in a calm voice. She told Crix that humanity was offering one chance for peace. The Valorians could turn around and leave. No shots would be fired. No lives would be lost. She said this was their only warning. Crix ended the transmission without responding. He ordered the fleet to advance. The 3,000 warships moved forward like hungry wolves approaching a wounded deer. The first wave of Valorian ships opened fire. Plasma bolts streaked across space. Missiles launched by the hundreds. The human shields should have fallen in seconds. They did not fall. The human ships held formation. Their shields glowed bright gold under the bombardment. They absorbed every hit, every missile, every plasma bolt. The attack that should have destroyed them did nothing at all. Crix felt the first touch of doubt. He ordered the second wave to join the attack, then the third. 2,000 ships firing at once. The space between the fleets became a wall of burning light. Still the human shields held. Then the humans moved. Their ships accelerated faster than anything Crix had ever seen. They split into dozens of small groups. Each group targeted a different section of the Valorian formation. They moved through space like dancers performing a deadly ballet. The human weapons fired. Crix watched in horror as beams of pure white light cut through Valorian ships like knives through paper. Their armor meant nothing. Their shields were useless. Each beam carved through multiple ships before fading. In 30 seconds, 200 Valorian ships became drifting wreckage. Crix screamed orders. Reform the lines. Concentrate fire. Bring up the heavy cruisers. His officers scrambled to obey. But the humans were too fast. They struck and vanished. They appeared from unexpected angles. They fought nothing like the intelligence reports had predicted. One human ship caught his attention. It was larger than the others, darker. Its hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Strange symbols covered its surface, symbols that looked almost like ancient writing. The ship moved toward the center of the Valorian fleet. Dozens of warships targeted it. Thousands of weapons fired. The dark ship did not slow down. It did not even try to dodge. Every shot that hit it simply disappeared, like the weapons had never existed. Then the dark ship opened its front section. something emerged from inside, something that could not be real. It looked like a creature from ancient nightmares, a serpent with wings that stretched a kilometer wide. Its body was covered in scales that burned with inner fire. Its eyes were stars. Its mouth was a furnace. A dragon. The humans had brought a dragon to the battle. Crix had studied human culture. He knew their legends. Dragons were supposed to be myths, stories told to frighten children. They were not supposed to be real. They were not supposed to exist. The dragon opened its mouth. Fire poured out. But this was not normal fire. This fire burned in the vacuum of space. This fire melted Valorian armor like ice in a furnace. This fire spread from ship to ship as if it were alive. The Eternal Dominion shook as nearby vessels exploded. Crix watched the main display with growing terror. The dragon was flying through his fleet. Every ship it passed became a torch. Every vessel it touched became a tomb. More dragons emerged from other human ships. 2, 5, 10, 20. They spread across the battle like demons released from hell. Their fire painted the void in shades of orange and red and white. Valorian sailors screamed over the communication channels. They begged for help. They prayed to gods they had never believed in. They died by the thousands. Crix finally understood. The humans had not fought against other species before. They had waited. They had hidden their true power. They had let the galaxy believe they were weak. And now the galaxy was learning the truth. The human admiral appeared on his screen again. Admiral Chun looked at him with those fearless eyes. She asked if he wanted to surrender now. She said her dragons were hungry, but she could call them back. She offered him the same chance she had offered before. Crix looked at the battle display. Half his fleet was already burning. The other half was trying to run. But the dragons were faster than any ship. They caught the fleeing vessels and turned them into floating graves. He thought about fighting to the end. Valorian warriors did not surrender. Valorian admirals did not beg for mercy. But Valorian admirals had also never faced dragons before. The flag of surrender went up. Crix ordered his remaining ships to stop firing. 1,200 vessels out of 3,000. The mightiest fleet in the galaxy had been cut in half in less than an hour. The dragons did not stop immediately. They circled the surviving ships like predators watching wounded prey. Their fires dimmed but did not go out. Their eyes watched everything. Admiral Chun transported herself to the Eternal Dominion. She came alone. No guards. No weapons. She walked onto the bridge like she owned it. Crix towered over her. He could have killed her with one swipe of his claws. But he knew that if he touched her, those dragons would reduce his ship to atoms. The human admiral spoke. She told him things that changed everything he believed about the universe. Humans had found the dragons sleeping beneath their oceans. Ancient creatures that had existed since before the dinosaurs. Beings of pure energy wrapped in physical form. The dragons had shared their world with humans since the beginning. They had watched humanity grow. They had protected humanity in secret. When humans reached for the stars, the dragons came with them. Not as weapons, not as tools, as partners, as family. The dragons could have conquered the galaxy alone. They were old beyond counting. They were powerful beyond measure. But they did not want to rule. They only wanted to protect their human friends. Admiral Chun told Crix that the Valorians had two choices. They could become enemies of humanity and the dragons. They could spend the rest of their existence running and hiding and dying. Or they could become friends. They could join a new alliance. They could help build something better than empire. Crix asked why the humans would offer friendship after the Valorians had come to destroy them. Admiral Chun smiled. She said that humans believed in second chances. They believed that even enemies could become allies. They believed that the universe was big enough for everyone. Behind her, through the viewport, Crix could see the dragons gathering. Dozens of them now, perhaps hundreds. They floated in space like living stars. Their fire had faded to a gentle glow. They looked almost peaceful. Crix made his choice. He knelt before the human admiral. His scales scraped against the metal floor. He offered his surrender and his service. The news spread across the Valorian Empire within days. The undefeated fleet had been broken. The mighty warships had burned, and the humans had dragons. Other species heard the news as well, species that had suffered under Valorian rule, species that had lived in fear for generations. They saw that the conquerors could be defeated. They saw that hope was possible. Messages began arriving at Earth, requests for alliance, offers of friendship, pleas for protection. The humans welcomed them all. The dragons flew patrol routes around human space. Any hostile fleet that approached would be met with fire and fury. But very few hostile fleets approached. Word spread quickly. The humans were not to be attacked. The humans had protectors. Admiral Chun returned to Earth as a hero, but she refused most honors. She said the victory belonged to everyone. Humans, dragons, all the species that would join their alliance. In the years that followed, the galaxy changed. The Valorian Empire crumbled. New democracies rose in its place. Trade routes opened. Wars ended. Species that had been enemies for millennia found ways to live in peace. And always, the dragons watched. They flew through the stars on wings of light. They breathed fire that could melt warships. They protected the small blue planet that had given them friends. Other species often asked the humans how they had tamed such powerful creatures. The humans always laughed at this question. They explained that they had not tamed the dragons. The dragons had chosen them. The dragons had loved them. And that love was stronger than any weapon. The universe learned a valuable lesson from the battle at Mars. Power did not come from conquest. Power did not come from fear. True power came from connection, from friendship, from the bonds between beings who chose to stand together. Humanity had entered the galactic stage as an underdog, a young species with primitive technology, a prey animal waiting to be hunted. But humanity had never been alone. They had walked with dragons since the dawn of time, and now the whole universe knew it. The fires of that battle eventually faded. The wreckage was cleared away. The dead were mourned and remembered. But the legend only grew with each passing year. They called it the day the dragons woke, the day when humanity showed its true face to the stars, the day when 3,000 ships learned that some prey bites back. And somewhere in the depths of Earth's oceans, more dragons still slept, waiting, dreaming, ready to wake if their human friends ever needed them again. The galaxy had seen only a fraction of humanity's power, and that fraction had been enough to change everything.